Hey guys, welcome back and thank you so much for joining me for our 7th session together as we move towards completing a play. So by now you guys probably have a lot of information about the plays that you're building. You probably have a really good sense of what the story is, maybe some of the different elements of those stories, including the conflict, maybe even the resolution. Of course, as a writer, you can always be surprised, and I encourage you to continue to try to surprise yourself. You have a lot of information about characters, how they might speak to each other. You've probably already written some dialogue and some different monologues. And today we're going to get even more specific about the actions in your play. We're going to talk today about the difference between action versus activity. Of course, no story can happen without the characters in your play doing something. So both of these words, and they sound a lot alike, but they're very different concepts. Action versus activity are about characters doing.
Tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living.
Now what's the difference between these activities and an action? So I want you to think back to some of those really early exercises that we did together where you identified your character's motivating characteristics and you thought about the goal that they have as they move through the story that you're building around them. So I shared that story with you about cats, and in that story, the main character, her goal was to make her father proud of her. So she's going to do a variety of different actions to make that goal happen, right? The most important thing in the world for her, her motivating characteristic, is to make her father proud. And as a result, she's going to engage in these different actions around the farm. And further, those different actions are going to take her into different activities. So for example, if her goal is to make her father proud, one of the actions she might take would be to plant a garden. So she's planting a garden in order to make her father proud. But there's going to be different activities that are associated with that main action of planting a garden in order to make her father proud. She's going to have to dig up the soil, plant the seeds, water the vegetables, pick the vegetables, eat the vegetables, cook them into something, etc. And all of that is going to be undertaken in this pursuit of making a garden in order to make her father proud. So can you start to see the difference a little bit? Activities are the things you fill your day with. Actions are the way that you complete your goals. All right, so let's do an activity, an exercise together with the goal of completing the action, which is to understand the difference between activity and action. And in our first activity together, I'm going to show you a series of photographs, and these are going to be really clear and obvious activities, things that you guys are familiar with. So this is one or more person engaged in some kind of activity, and I want you to write the first most obvious scene that comes right into your head when you look at this picture. So here's our first picture. So it's really clear in this picture that you have two different characters. You have the bank teller and you have the bank customer. So a scene between these two fellas might sound something like this. Hey there, sir. Good morning. Can I help you? Of course. I'd like to make a deposit. Great. Can I get your deposit information, or do you have a deposit slip with you? Of course. Right here. Thank you so much, sir. I've deposited your $20 into your savings account. Thank you. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. All right, right? There we go. That was the execution of an activity. Now let's say in addition to this, we add another layer and we add an action. So let's imagine that the customer who's coming to the bank is not only engaged in the activity of depositing $20 into his account, but he's engaged in the action of scoping the bank out because he's planning to come back tomorrow in order to rob it. So how does that change the scene? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write that second scene where he's completing the activity of depositing $20 into his account, but at the same time, he's also completing the action of scoping the bank out so that he can come back in order to rob it the next day. And if you want to go even further for extra credit, you could imagine what this character's motivating characteristic is. What is the thing that he's doing that requires him to rob this bank? That might be really interesting information. And then all of a sudden you're building a play around this very simple activity. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You can pause the video and good luck. Write quickly, write process, put your first ideas on the page. You can make it good later. Just get it done. Good luck. How was that? For our next exercise, activity, I'm going to have you guys do a little bit of the work that I did for you. So I'm going to put up a picture, and I want you, first of all, to label the activity, to label the characters that are involved in the scene, and then to write the scene of those characters engaged in that activity, but also choose the action, so the reason that they are engaged in that activity. So we're going to do this twice. The first one, I'm going to give you several choices, but it is all different characters engaged in baking cakes. So choose the picture that speaks most to you and the characters that are most interesting to you, and write those characters engaged in the activity of baking a cake. But remember that what you're really accomplishing is writing a scene where those characters are completing an action. So their action requires that they do this activity of baking the cake. Are they baking the cake because it's in competition? Are they baking it for a special occasion? Are they baking it to pass a test? What is the action that they are completing as they complete that activity of baking the cake? And then take that even further. What is their motivating characteristic? And why do they need to win that competition, pass that test, bake that cake for that special occasion, make a good impression? What are they most hoping to accomplish? What is the thing they want most in all of the world? Who knew? You could pack all of this into just baking a cake. Okay, good luck. Same thing. 3 minutes, pause the video, write quickly, write process. Who cares if it's bad? Just get it on the page. You can make it good later. All right, good luck. It gets easier, doesn't it? Combining activity with action. We have one more. Again, I'm going to put 3 pictures up. Choose the one that speaks most to you. And these are characters engaged in digging a hole. So everybody's got the same activity, digging a hole, but every scene is going to have its own specific action that's connected to your own personal motivating character that you imagine for those characters that you're creating. All right, another 3 minutes, and you know the drill. Write quickly, get the bad idea on the page. You can make it good later. Good luck. Really good work, you guys. Well done. Okay, so we're going to start to take these ideas into our own plays. So your assignment between now and the next time we meet is for you to think of different activities and actions in your scene. So I want you to take as much time as you need to write a scene in which your characters are engaged in some activity. But they're using that activity in order to complete an action that ultimately serves their motivating characteristic. So you know who your character is, and you already know that character's motivating characteristic. You have great ideas about what the story is and what the elements of that story are. So choose one of those things in that story that your character needs to accomplish in order to meet their goal or achieve the promise of their motivating characteristic. And what is the activity that is associated with that action? And can you write both of those things at once? It's a complicated task, but you've had 3 chances in this exercise together, and I've given you a lot of ideas about different activities and different actions. So you can choose one of those, or you can imagine your own. I have faith in you. You're going to be great at this, and I hope you send me your scenes when you're done. All right, take as much time as you need, and I will see you for our 8th and final session about revising and rewriting. Good luck, you guys, and I'll see you soon.